I was a huge pothead for years, but was never addicted or reliant or dependent on weed in the same way I was alcohol. Compared to my problem with booze, it was relatively minor and easy to kick. At a certain point, every time I got high, I would just regret it. Crippling anxiety. It would make me incapable of getting out into the world and interacting with people. Suddenly, the smallest chore or errand was a big deal and super involved. I think it makes you a little schizo, to be honest. You get hung up on the finer details of every little thing that a not high person would pay no attention to and keep moving. And as a result, in the final analysis, on net be more productive. It dragged me into the weeds, no pun intended. It made me a paranoid and definitely less vital person. In the beginning, I think it was different. I just laughed and got hungry, but I was young and carefree and didn't have much responsibility. Later, when I did, it would summon a big dark cloud, a ball of stressful energy, and just turn me into a shell of myself. And 10 minutes later, I'd always be like, why did I do this? Maybe I had an action-packed day, and all of a sudden, I wouldn't even be able to be around people, and that's it. I just got fed up with this experience compounding and sort of phased it out of my life. And I'll add that every time that I've smoked in years since, thinking maybe I've grown up and I'm a less anxious person and it'll be different. Nope, it's the same stupid experience. Why did I do this? Now I'm all up in my head and not in a good way. It just ruined this perfectly good day, this nice hike, and any good thoughts that come out of it, I will forget, or they won't seem good later. I understand it works differently for everyone and helped my dad through chemo, but I think a lot of the benefit of weed is exaggerated, and I will say the pot smoking community is extremely dogmatic. No one is more protective of their special thing, and the cliche of the chill stoner guy is just not true at all. They get really angry when you question their precious. Because I smoked for years, I thought I'd have some credit and license to talk about it, but since starting this page, I've done a few videos on it and said some things, and each time, whoa, if you crack a joke or say something derogatory about weed, the hate you get from pot smokers is more intense than when you disparage the most dogmatic religion. It starts to seem like a cult. If you leave the cult and badmouth it, you're almost a worse enemy. If you question it, you're a heretic and they attack you. Even if you have some real experience and your experience is not unique. In fact, if you have a lot of experience, they will use this against you and say your experience was bad because you did too much, which is why I started by saying I was never addicted to weed. It's funny, right? The people who say you can't get addicted to weed will say you must have abused it. So which is it? You can't abuse weed or you can? I'm actually taking the charitable position and saying that though I got high a lot, I was never addicted to weed, as evidenced by the fact that when it became incompatible with my life, I just sort of grew out of it, which is what I think most people do, and I've smoked weed in years since and done so in a moderate way. I think big brain weed smoker understands that for the reason that I've already admitted and we all agree it works differently for different people and some may benefit. This also means that some really don't benefit and it's not good for everyone. And this might be more of the pie than they'd like to admit.